familypharmacy.com/bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Ashlyn. Today's going to be tough. We got hit with a double whammy. It's the anniversary of 9/11. Of course, we're going to talk about that. And the murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And from my perspective, I was sitting on the couch yesterday, volumes off on the television, and the banner said, Charlie Kirk shot, condition unknown. And I was like, now what does that mean? Because that's what they have to say. And, we'll run through, you and I and Ashlyn, some of the audio from yesterday, thoughts about Charlie. So proud of the New York Yankees that they did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. And I was so angry. I'm still very angry. My wife moped around the house all night last night. She was depressed. She loved Charlie Kirk. I would find her all the time with a YouTube Charlie Kirk presentation and her headphones in and watching it. And she kept saying, this guy's so smart. He's so smart. And Charlie, he has the Constitution memorized from front to back, and he's got the Bible memorized from front to back. And everybody says he's a hater. And I've never heard him say a hateful thing ever. But people who say that never actually heard him speak. They took the word of somebody else who's a crazy left wing. And you know what? The Democrats, the left wings, they are hateful. They are violent. And enough is enough. And that's all I'll say. All right, who is doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us today?
Jessica Porcelli.
My lovely wife. Go ahead, Jess.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's get to Karen. Who's waiting patiently, as we all are. Got it? So, a lot of discussion today about Charlie Kirk. And we have other things going on, too. Dr. Cohen's going to be with us. Mark Beckman, the AI specialist, that we had a great time with him. First time we talked to him. Nate Lucas is back. That's great news. The deli, before the Charlie Kirk situation, we're ready to do the deli about 9/11, and we will. It'll be mixed in with everything else. It's just bad. America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman, perfect timing to have her on. And guess who I thought about all day yesterday? My buddy Ken Williams, and he'll be with us at 11:25.
Karen said that we can just talk.
Okay. Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm not fine.
No,
but no opener is necessary. It's a perfect time to skip it.
So, the left is so hateful, Karen. They are so hateful.
Vile. First, I want to say a special hello and give a cyber hug to your wife, Jessica.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll let her know.
Because I'm right there with her. I didn't listen to him or watch him as much as she apparently did, but he has touched so many people. He was so effective. That's why they killed him. Because he was so effective.
Where's the hate? I've never seen hate come out of his mouth ever.
You know what? I don't mean to admonish, but it's ridiculous and it doesn't even deserve to be defended because this is their tactic. That's what they always do. And then there are all the bandwagoneers who just believe this nonsense. The reason they hated him so much, and why they're putting together a list and putting it on the internet of the next person they're going to go after, is because they always go after the ones who are phenomenally effective.
Yes.
He did what I recognized a long time ago I can't do, which is to keep my cool and reason with people that I just want to strangle.
Right.
I don't strangle them. I don't advocate for strangling them, but I surely want to,
You know, it's funny
because of their moral degradation.
Right.
He was unshakable. He was fearless. Many people thought he'd be president
Yes.
of the United States one day, and he had everything it took, and they wouldn't allow it. A lot of people don't realize just how huge this is.
And
yeah,
Yeah,
and
go
then
no.
9/11, the day before 9/11.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's
What do
okay.
you want to say?
Well, I wanted to say that I forgot what I wanted to say. I don't know. I don't remember
You'll think of it.
I will. But Charlie would ask when he would go to these campuses, and the people that were the most vocal and loudest against him, he would put in the front of the line. He would let them
Yeah.
come first.
Oh yeah, that's what he was there to do. He set out that as his mission. And if he weren't effective, if he wasn't so popular, if he wasn't able to draw crowds like that, the left would have tried to just swat him like a fly, but they couldn't. They couldn't do it. It's beyond heartbreaking.
I know that you are more of a Twitter person than a Facebook person, but I was scrolling through Facebook a lot last night after this, and I can't believe some of the hateful things, even after his death, people were saying about him. Oh, good, he's dead. Great, he got what he deserved. His that's what he gets when he spews hate. And I'm still like, where's the hate? Where's the hate?
There wasn't any. And for those who have even a brain cell firing, they have been brainwashed into believing that being disapproved of and disagreed with is hateful. I mean, that's what they think, that the government doesn't just guarantee your rights to liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It guarantees your right to be approved of. And this is the evil and the moral degradation part of it, and the twisted values that the left has been pushing for a very long time now. And as I've said, they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We don't even know who this guy is, but we do know that there are many of them out there, and they're the people that are cheering. They're the people who are screaming, and they're the people who cheered the murder in broad daylight of somebody who worked for an insurance company and made a movement out of it and made the killer a hero. This is morally depraved, and that's why it was so upsetting, because they use that to use these people as pawns in their agenda. The thing that's so amazing is that the people, whoever it is, who are really stirring this, inciting it, and the masterminds who we don't know who all they are, they don't give a damn about the lives of the people that are on their bandwagon. They're just useful idiots. They'll take the heat. They'll either be killed or be on the run or take the death penalty, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They were used, many of them.
Yeah, the kid who shot at Trump, for sure.
That's a perfect example. I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for him.
Nope.
I am sorry that people can't see how much communists and leftists and these people who are part of a death cult use people who are either ill, gullible, foolish, or ignorant of basic truths. And Charlie Kirk set out to bring truth and light into those lives. And that's also what we're mourning today.
And the left always resorts to violence, always. And you started to say, and I think you did say, that you would never advocate for violence back at the left, right?
No,
and it
I would
reminded
never.
Last night we have a a legend here at the station. His name is Larry Connors. He was a TV anchor in this town for decades, and now he's here, and we're lucky to have him. And on his show every night from 6 to 8 o'clock, Larry Connors USA, the first commercial break, before he goes to it, he always says, "Lock and load, ready on the right." And he said it last night, but he had to say, I'm not saying that as a call to action, okay? It's just, figuratively lock and load and get ready on the right. And you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, Karen. I really don't, because there are people on our side who are not going to take this lying down.
There's so many layers to this, Vic. There really are. I can speak for myself. The reason I'm adamant that I don't advocate for violence, certainly not a radio program, and not personally or privately either, because those of us who appreciate it and are so heartbroken today about Charlie Kirk not only shared his love of the First Amendment, his love for discourse and debate and changing people's minds, but the freedom that our great country has enabled us to have in order to do those things. And that's what's been under attack. That's what I'm sorry to say, will be I hate using it, but it's true, a martyr.
Oh, absolutely.
For
He's absolutely
that,
a martyr, yeah.
For that principle and concept that has been under attack, along with the other Bill of Rights, for roughly 15 years now, with the exception of a couple of respites called Donald Trump. But other than that, it's been about 15 years of constant, relentless hatred and systematic dismantling of our most beloved and cherished principles. And so it's no accident that not only do these kids and ignorant people, whomever they are, and ideologues think that it's reasonable to control speech and to control thought as if they could, and to shut people down for simply disagreeing. They have been spurred on by an ideology that justifies their murderous behavior and all the rest. I mean, did you ever think they'd come out of the closet and get others to stand on the bandwagon of being pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, pro-criminal, pro-illegal alien criminal? I mean, what got lost yesterday, and I was on my way home, it was just like a 1, 2, 3 punch,
Right.
was an elderly couple in New York. I don't know if you saw this. Did you even see it? I mean, I'm not mad at you.
No, I don't
should have
know.
said you can't keep up with this. This was in Queens, an elderly couple who were kind enough to open their door where their neighbors wouldn't, to someone who gave a phony excuse that he needed electric, because his phone was out or whatever. Other people in the neighborhood said, no, I'm not going to do that. They opened their doors. They were stabbed to death, and then he set the house on fire.
Wow.
They have the name of that guy. I don't even remember, but I wouldn't say it anyway.
No, right.
That I heard, and I was heartbroken when I came home, because you can't be a nerd to this, no matter how painful it is. If you just become a nerd, I don't know what the other word is, not a nerd, but a nerd
Right.
to it, and you're numb to it. How can you be numb to what happened yesterday? Then you lose your humanity too. And we have to go back to looking at people as individuals and judging them as individuals. And they need to be judged as individuals for the sake of a free society. I know I'm on a bandwagon. It's so hard. I respected the Fox pundits yesterday after having a gut punch like that. People, that knew him, that worked with him, that loved him, who had to go on the radio on the TV right after that. The Five, they were like devastated, and they had to get up there and talk.
And Greg Gutfeld used the F word at the end of the fight. But, it's what you said is exactly true. And then on the opposite end of that, MSNBC and the left-wing media were just vile and vicious, and Matthew Dowd got fired for what he said, rightfully so.
And Jesse called for it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So I thought, Karen, we'd wrap up here with a little bit of Charlie Kirk. Are you up for that?
Oh, absolutely. Let's honor him.
Here's Charlie at a college campus.
Hi. So I'm not technically, I don't go to UT, and I'm not the legal age to vote yet. And my parents are divorced, and both of my parents have separate political views. My mom's conservative and my dad's a liberal. And my mom is always kind of pushing me to bring politics into my life. And I was wondering, A, should I care? And if I should, why? And which parent should I lean more towards?
Got it. So did you say mom's liberal?
Mom's conservative.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's opposite I would have thought. Okay,
Yeah.
So I see you have a shirt here that says, whom shall I send? Here I am, right?
Yes.
Which I love. That is the Hebrew word Hineni, which appears many times throughout the scriptures. When Abraham, the binding of Isaac, Moses at the burning bush, the call of Isaiah, the call of Samuel. Every believer here in the audience, by the way, the most important thing is to bring Jesus into your life. Let me just make sure I say that. Most important thing.
So he went on and he said, lean towards both of your parents, because he went on to this whole honor thy parents thing. And then he said, when you're with them, don't talk about politics, talk about the Bible, talk about scriptures, you know. And I thought you'd appreciate the Hebrew thing that he threw in there.
Can I just say that I pinned something that moved me so profoundly on my Twitter page, and I do have a Facebook page, but it's a little bit private, I guess. That's why I don't use it. And it has the most heartfelt thing. You may have read it by Dennis Prager, who is now paralyzed and on the other end of the age spectrum from Charlie Kirk. And I wrote, different in age, different in faith, but united by their love for God, America, and respect for one another. And this is the time when we must respect our religious differences, but also stand together. Stand together. That's what I posted on a Facebook page for the basic truth and humanity of our ideals. The more you know who you are, the more you know that that's what you believe in, and you stand together, then the better off we will be as a country. I don't know what else to say.
Jason Chaffetz was on a lot yesterday on Fox. He was a representative from Utah, and he had a heartwarming story when he said, my kids, they only wanted to meet two people, President Trump and Charlie Kirk.
Huh. Yeah, talk about a guy who'd been gut punched. He witnessed it. He was there. He watched it. And then he had to come on the air before we knew what had happened, you know, the ultimate news that we heard. We were all on pins and needles. I was, you were, I'm sure, hoping, praying that he would pull through.
I couldn't get my mind off his wife and his kids.
I know, me either. I'm giving you a big hug too.
Thank
I know
you.
your listeners are giving you a big hug.
Back at you.
I'm right with you, hon.
I thought it was cool that the Yankees did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk.
I didn't know that, but God love them too. And you know what? I think your listeners are hurting just as bad as you. And we all are. We're resolute, and we have to be courageous. We have to have a little bit of the courage he had. He had amazing courage.
Yep, sure did.
And clarity.
It's easy just to run and hide, but to be out there every single day, you know, this could have happened at any other college campus that he was at. You know?
Yeah.
All right, Karen. Love you to death.
Love you too. Love you too.
We'll talk Monday.
You take care.
All right.
Bye.
Sorry, guys. But you knew it was going to happen, right? All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk to Dr. Bonner Cohen from CFACT on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Jamie Ullman here with the great Eric Swanson of Newstedter's Fine Jewelers, Doherty Ferry, and Big Bend. Tell me about Wow Diamonds.
Wow Diamonds. We call them that because when people come in and look at the diamonds, everyone says, wow. We feature those in natural diamonds, the mine diamonds. They're perfectly cut, polished, and proportioned. Not all diamonds come out of the cutting process the same, and ours are perfect. That's why they're called Wow Diamonds.
Newstedter's Fine Jewelers right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country
depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys station
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
What Secretary Kennedy is doing is aligned with what the scientific evidence says.
We need true research to say what is right, what is wrong. I don't believe that 6 months old should be vaccinated for COVID.
The Department of Justice mission is to reduce illegal employment and prevent employers from gaining an unfair advantage.
This is what the president won his campaign and his mandate on.
1019 and 94.1
St. Louis is number one
for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
1019 and 94.1
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL.
All right. Welcome back. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. Ashland's in for Kenny today. And Ken, believe it or not, is in Utah, where this whole thing happened yesterday. And he was nice enough when I asked him, I said, can you come on and talk with us about it? He said, of course, Vic, you idiot. Of course I will. So it'll be good to hear from him and see what he's thinking. I mean, I talked to him for like 2 seconds today, and he'll call back at 11:25. Right now, let's welcome back our great friend, Dr. Bonner Cohen from CFAC.org. Dr. Cohen, thank you for being with us again, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
You wrote an article on CFAC called Food Trumps Green Energy, Wind, and Solar. So is the gist of this story that they put so much energy and money into energy, wind, and solar that they forgot about the food?
They forgot about the food, and now there's a big question mark behind the word money. Let's not forget that President Trump, a businessman, he was a developer. Knows that if you're going to develop something, and that can be a hotel, it can be a large housing development, or for that matter, a so-called wind farm or solar farm, you need upfront capital. Well, if you create a regulatory atmosphere that is known from the outset is extremely hostile to wind and solar, you will scare off investors. And I think this is exactly the plan that Trump and his people are following. And they have very good reasons to be hostile both to offshore and onshore wind as well as to solar power. With respect to the solar power, every acre that is used to house one of these gigantic solar arrays that are springing up around the country is land that is taken out of use for agriculture or any other useful purpose. And I say useful purpose because solar power is in no way, shape, or form useful. It's intermittent, it produces nothing at night, and it creates enormous environmental problems because the solar panels have a limited life expectancy. They can't be recycled, so they're going to wind up in a dump somewhere where you run the risk of the chemicals that are inside them leaching into the soil around them and perhaps even into the groundwater. And you have the same problem with wind turbines and the platforms that support wind turbines, be they in the ocean or be they on land. They too have a limited life expectancy. They're going to have to be disposed of. They can't be recycled. And so what we're doing is we're creating, or have been up until very recently, creating a bunch of mini Superfund sites that are going to be going all around the country. And people are up in arms about these things now. Wait till they start finding out that these things are going to be buried in the ground somewhere near them because we have to do something with them. So this is, I think, a two-pronged approach that the Trump administration is taking here. It's going both after offshore wind, but that's going to be extended to onshore wind, and he's going after solar power, simply making it extremely difficult for investors to put their money into these things, knowing they're going to have to clear a whole lot of hurdles, and that even projects that have gotten underway, such as a couple of these offshore wind projects, you can order a no work, you can put out a no work order anytime and stop them. So I think that's ultimately the game that Trump and his people are playing here, just sending a clear message to the investment community: put your money elsewhere.
You know, first of all, I wanted to say deregulation has always been a big part of President Trump's plan, and he is doing that, and that is good. But what bugs me the most is the disrespect for farmers in this country. And this year, I have a much better appreciation for farmers. One of our listeners is a farmer in Illinois, and, she's just having a rough time. But in my backyard, all we tried to do was get a couple tomatoes, some eggplants, and with 100-degree heat for 10 days in a row, everything died. The squirrels ate the tomatoes. So I really get a better appreciation than I ever have for farmers, is what I'm trying to say.
The elites who have been running the United States and European countries as well for the past years, actually decades, they have a real contempt for people who work with their hands. That can be farmers, that can be ranchers, that can be people engaged in manufacturing of things that are really useful, as opposed to things which are not, such as, manufacturing wind turbines and solar panels and what have you. And there's a real cultural gap here between these people and your listener in Illinois and elsewhere. They know nothing about the world in which people in flyover country live, and they don't want to know about it either. It's a matter of complete indifference to them. The people with whom they deal every day are people who see the world exactly as they do, and they have no empathy for these people whatsoever.
And I know that these wind farms, I don't even know how it works. Do you know how they even claim that wind farm works to make energy? I don't have that kind of scientific head.
one of the things that they are very silent about, particularly with respect to offshore wind, as soon as these things are up and running, they immediately start losing what little efficiency they have to begin with. Now, you get more wind offshore than you get onshore on average. So you can perhaps expect them to run at roughly 35-40% capacity, which is certainly higher than what you will ever get with wind farms that are onshore. But owing to the conditions that are prevailing in maritime areas, those offshore wind farms start really losing their efficiency as soon as they go up. After 10 years, they're really basket cases. By the way, they break down all the time anyway, so they have to go out and be repaired. But even those that are quote unquote functioning, and you can see the turbines, those rotors, you can see them turn, but they're turning at an ever decreasing level of efficiency, and they all have to go after 15 or 20 years, because at that point they are completely useless, aside from being unsightly, posing a threat to marine life, and as we are increasingly recognizing, they can interfere with national security, because if there are military bases nearby, particularly bases that use airborne objects, and believe me, the coast all the way from Maine down around Florida, the Gulf Coast, there are tons of military outlets there. These things can interfere with the transmission of important messages that go from point A to point B. And the military the Pentagon is starting to hate these things because they see that they interfere with their mission. So if you look at it, they undermine national security, they're inefficient, they're ugly as sin. So what are we doing putting them up? Well, with any luck, we're moving away from that. And the Trump administration, as I said, is telling investors, don't put your money here because we'll screw you over if you do.
Right, absolutely right. Dr. Bonner Cohen, great article at cfact.org. Always a pleasure to have you on our show, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to be here.
All right, great. cfact.org, the doctor would say. All right, let's go to break. And we talked to Mark Beckman before. He was great. He said a lot of nice things about us. And I don't know if today is going to be as jovial as the first time he was on, but he wants to talk about AI and Melania, taking AI by the horns and going with it. So that's when we get back on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Dr. Fauci sent out emails saying, read, then destroy. What was going on?
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 101.9. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
I'm very angry.
I've heard a lot of people talking about gun control. You have to wave a magic wand and get rid of the establishment. This maniac is going to inspire the next maniac.
News, analysis, opinion.
But my focus is kind of the mental health crisis. Swamps not going to drain itself.
I'm just sick of the protesting in general, and that's why it's so very important to be prepared.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling.
Right. Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
That's J.B. Pritzker, who wants you to believe that the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday was Donald Trump's fault and that January 6th happened. He's the biggest idiot. I mean, Illinois, you guys got to get rid of him, okay? You guys got to, when I say, oh my God, when I say get rid of him, I mean vote him out. You got to watch everything you say, and last night I listened to Larry Connors for the entire show, and all the guys here at the station all spent time with him. But, at that first commercial break in Larry's show every night, he says, lock and load, ready on the right. And he felt like he had to say, I don't mean that literally. It's not a call to action, okay? It's just mentally, and intellectually, lock and load and be ready on the right. So Governor Pritzker, I'm sorry, getting back to what I said, getting rid of him, meaning voting him out. You need a new governor, you need a Republican governor, and you guys down there in downstate Illinois, keep working on your secession thing, okay? I know Indiana kind of jumped in front of us there, but we'd love to have you. And J.B. Pritzker, this is why, you know what? I'm going to say a couple of things, all right? Me, personally, the management of this radio station, specifically Jeff Allen, who is the guy I always go to. If I need counsel, I go to him all the time in the mornings when I walk in for counsel on what to say and who to talk to. And everybody here, I think, obviously knew this was a political assassination. But my point is, we didn't want to say that Charlie Kirk died until we knew that he died. We didn't want to be the first one to get anything on the air, but not be accurate. How many times have I said to you, I would rather see news anchors say, as we reported to you accurately, instead of as we reported to you first. So J.B. Pritzker doesn't play by those rules. He says, I don't know if this is a political thing. The governor of Utah said, make no mistake, this is a political assassination. Ashley, can you see who this is on the phone? It might be that person that wanted to talk to us. No, there's two people. This was, I tell you what, can I say this is a very elementary thing? Because I have a very elementary pea brain. I can't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. I can't believe it. A guy who goes out from campus to campus and talks to kids, the ones that are the loudest and the ones that hate him the most are the ones that get to go first. They get to go to the front of the line. That's just the way he was. And he never got hateful. I some of the people that I don't know personally, but know because we're both in the same business and, on Facebook, really saying some disgusting things, hateful things about Charlie Kirk. Who's on the phone?
It's David, and he said you keep mispronouncing Pritzker's last name.
Okay, put him on. Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave.
You keep mispronouncing JB's last name. It's Pigster.
Oh, Pigster.
Not
Sorry.
Pritzker.
Pigster. How silly of me.
Pigster. Yeah. Look, Vic, I love you, but you got to cheer up, brother.
I know, and I will. Dave, I will. I just, this is a guy who has been so attacked by the left for being just a guy. You know what I mean? Being a good guy, being a religious guy, a guy who, you heard in the thing we played, he said, well, the first thing you got to do is follow Jesus Christ. And he did.
The most important takeaway in it of anybody of any religious faith, Vic, is he's with his Lord and Savior right now. That's the best thing as a Christian. This world is not our destination. This world is just a stopping point. Remember that. He is at home in heaven with God. So there is nothing to be sad. Well, there's something to be sad about, but there's also something to be happy for. Anybody who with any faith in God will tell you the same thing. Don't worry about Pigster. He's on his way out. He just doesn't know it yet.
I hope so.
Illinois will rise up. We got this under control, brother.
Okay, Dave, you're the best, man. Thank you so much.
Whoosh, my brother.
Whoosh, my baby. Thank you so much. Asked him just so you know, that guy Dave was the first guy to call this radio show when it started 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago.
Wow.
So getting back to, I guess I had to call him Pigster now because Dave wants me to call him Pigster. But I don't know if it's political or not because I don't know who did it. Guess what? It was a political assassination. And there were some interesting things I heard last night that I didn't think of, and I was mad that I didn't think of them. This shot came from 200 yards away. So it had to be a high-powered rifle with a scope. And Charlie, by the way, also wears a bulletproof vest. Did you know that? I didn't know that. And this shot got him right in the neck, right over the bulletproof vest. So you want to say, oh, this was a professional hit. It may be. It may just be somebody who is good with guns, very, very good with guns. But somebody said last night, it might have been Paul Mora, who I really, really like. He said, where's the gun? Have we retrieved the gun? This was last night now. I think they may have found it this morning. Because it's really hard to blend in with a crowd and get out of there holding a rifle, right? Even if it folds down to get into a backpack, how quickly can you do that? Because this guy shot and ran. Oh, and by the way, just like with the assassination attempt on President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, people saw him walking on the roof before the guy shot. So, are we this stupid, really? I'm not calling law enforcement stupid. Listen, today's tough, okay? So, just be on my side, and be by my side is a better way to say that. And we'll get through it together. Now, let me see if I can find some other stuff that I saw last night. Is that one? What is this? Oh no. Okay. Because there was a lot of audio that I went after last night. Okay, here's one. Here's one for you. There's a woman who works at MSNBC. She's an anchor. She used to work at NBC. And the left thought she was the shining star. She was the shining star on the mountain because she was just so good. Her name is Katie Tur. I don't know if you know her. But listen to what she says about yesterday and the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
After one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked
Allegedly attacked. That was Big Balls she's talking about. And there was a picture of him bloodied. So I think we can lose the alleged, when it comes to somebody who, was Charlie Kirk allegedly assassinated yesterday? She's such an ass, this girl. Go ahead.
Washington, D.C. That's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
Wow. The assassination of a good guy, a good man. The Trump administration is going to use it for something, and because Big Balls got beat up, that's why she thinks Trump sent the National Guard in to fight crime in D.C. I'm pretty sure he sent the National Guard in to fight crime in D.C. I mean, I don't know. And Matthew Dowd, I don't know if you know who that is. He's a commentator on MSNBC. He said some pretty vile stuff too. We're going to play that before we're out of here at noon today. And it's just disgraceful how the left shows their colors every time something like this happens. Okay. Gun control. Now we're back to gun control because, the gun just sat up there by itself on the roof and shot by itself. The wind pulled the trigger and shot Charlie Kirk in the neck. It's mental illness. We don't have asylums anymore. We don't have mental asylums anymore. Maybe we should bring them back because there's too many people with mental illness who are getting guns and killing people. And in this case, the great Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA when he was like 18 years old. He quit college, by the way. He's so smart, and everything he learned on his own through experience, through reading. He knows the Constitution front and back. There was one event. Oh, and by the way, he knows the Bible front and back too. Let's throw that in. He was at one event at a campus, and he had pocket constitutions. And the guy said, "What are you? Why are you doing that? Why are you giving away constitutions?" First of all, what a ridiculous comment, okay? The document that this country was based on. Why are you doing that? And he said, "Oh, you don't need it? Okay, well, tell me about the Fourth Amendment." And the guy didn't know. He didn't know what the Fourth Amendment was, anything about it. And then Charlie Kirk said, "Yeah, see, this is a constitution for fifth graders. It's written for fifth graders. You're not even up to the level of a fifth grader." And he never hated anyone. This is what I don't understand. People that I know on Facebook are shooting the hate at Charlie Kirk because he was a hater. Well, he got what he deserved, right? I don't know. This is a tough day. I got to tell you, this is a tough day. My poor wife, she was so upset last night because she would be sitting on the couch almost every night. Well, no, every night. She would at least watch one Charlie Kirk video and encourage me to watch them, and I would. And she was so impressed with how smart he was, how great of a debater he was without getting hateful, like people got to him. And now he's gone. And his wife and his kids, his kids will never, the little newborn will never know her father. And the older sister won't either because she's so young right now. She doesn't understand what's going on. And I can't even imagine trying to explain it to her. Okay. Mike Ferguson is out at Whistle Pig in Troy, Missouri. He'll be out there from 11 to 1. And he'll be checking in with us. First shot will be at about 11:20 or so, 11:22 or so. And we'll hear about everything going on there at Whistle Pig in Troy, Missouri with our very own Mike Ferguson. Ken Williams is in Utah. What kind of crazy coincidence is that? And he's going to join us at 11:25 today to get the take from where it happened, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday at this campus. And we'll get through it together. You and me and Ashlyn will get through it together too. And I don't think we have Nate today. I apologize for that. Porcelli's Dead will be about 9/11. That was my original plan for today. Before all this happened, and we'll keep that, because today is we'd have to talk about what happened yesterday, and then of course what happened 24 years ago today, and both coming on the same day. It's a rough day to navigate. All right, so bear with me. If you want to talk, you can give us a call. Always in the chat box. We'll get to that at the end of the show too, and we'll get through it together. All right, on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Hunters, you know that dove season is here and deer season is right around the corner. That's why you should get your supplies from the experts at Whistle Pig Outdoors in Troy. Mike Ferguson here, and I'm telling you, it is worth the trip to Troy to get your hunting clothes and decoys and chairs and even ammo. The family that owns Whistle Pig Outdoors, they're not just hunters. They are experts ready to help you make this hunting season a success. Find them online at whistlepigoutdoors.com.
Join us for the annual St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan Day Dinner on Saturday, September 27th at the River City Casino Hotel Ballroom. Hear from top Missouri state and federal officials, plus special guest federal IRS agent Joseph Ziegler, who played a key role in the Hunter Biden investigation. Enjoy dinner, networking, and a silent auction. For tickets, call Renee Artman at 314-398-6667 or email reneeartman1530@gmail.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. America remembers those lost on 9/11/2001. The mournful sound of taps heard at the Pentagon, one of the targets of the 9/11 terrorists. President Trump addressing service members at today's memorial ceremony.
To every member that still feels a void every day of your lives, the First Lady and I unite with you in sorrow. And today, as one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001.
Also ceremonies at the World Trade Center site in New York and near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, as well as in villages, towns, and cities all around the country. President Trump says he'll posthumously award Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Law enforcement officials say the sniper who assassinated Charlie Kirk is thought to have jumped from a roof, fleeing into a nearby neighborhood after firing a single shot. The FBI says a high-powered rifle has been recovered from the scene. 31 years old, the Turning Point USA CEO and Salem talk host leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. Inflation heated up last month. Price of gas, groceries, and airfares jumped, while a measure of layoffs also increased. It puts the Fed in a tough spot as it prepares to cut rates at a meeting next week, despite persistent price pressures. In Florida, jurors have been seated for the trial of Ryan Ruth. He's accused of plotting to shoot then presidential candidate Donald Trump, the Florida golf course, last year. Rally underway on Wall Street this hour. The Dow is up 573 points. The Nasdaq ahead 132 and the S&P 47 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-54.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Our warming trend continues today. Mostly sunny skies, light winds, a high of 91 this afternoon. That'll be the first time we've been in the 90s in about 3 weeks in St. Louis. Warm 80s then for your evening plans. And they'd clear overnight. We'll drop into the mid-60s by daybreak Friday. A little warmer tomorrow. Mostly sunny and 93 Friday afternoon. Downright hot this weekend. Highs both Saturday and Sunday around 95. Humidity creeps up a bit, but the heat index only a tick or 2 above the actual temperature. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2, ready to roll. Lots to do here in the last 2 hours. One thing is talk to our pal Ken Williams, who I can't get out of my mind today. Obviously, boy, would he have some strong words to say, and he will at 11:25. So when hold on, I just got to write something down here so I don't forget to say it to you guys. Okay, the gun they have found. They're saying the gun. Now there were 2 people who were suspects, persons of interest, I guess, officially persons of interest. One of the guys was, if you've seen the video, he's on his hands and his knees, got a blue shirt on and a bald head. And the thing that bothers me about that, he kept saying over and over again, I have the right to remain silent. Why did he say that? I mean, was this just one guy? Was this some sort of planned I guess I'll say the word conspiracy. Because why would somebody say I have the right to remain silent if he did nothing wrong? And why, if you have the right to remain silent, just remain silent. You don't have to announce it that you have the right to remain silent. And he did over and over again. You know, there's something wrong in this country. There really is. There's a lot of things wrong in this country. But yesterday's events really made me understand that this country is in trouble. Okay. And the left is violent, and they always resort to violence. And it's always a conservative or a Republican getting shot at or shot. President Trump, Charlie Kirk, Steve Scalise. Let's not forget that, right? Steve Scalise shot on a baseball field. And I was trying to think back in my head, boy, when was the last time a Democrat was shot and or shot at? And Gabby Giffords was the first thing I thought of. And yes, that was a terrible thing. And that guy had a mental illness too. And we have a mental illness problem in this country. But I think we have more than that, because the left is not going to stop. Do you think this is going to end? Charlie Kirk is going to be the last assassination of a conservative or a Republican? There's a guy on trial right now in Florida for attempting to assassinate President Trump. The guy Ruther, whatever his name was, the guy that was in the bushes at the golf course at Mar-a-Lago. And I just don't know why and I don't know how. This is part of, I can't wait for Ken to get back, because this is part of our thoughts on us being on the offensive. We're always on the defense. We always have to defend ourselves. But being on the offense is the show of strength, And I said Monday that the personification of being on the offensive is changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. I mean, the word defense is right in it. Right away, you're defensive because they're stupid. I'm sorry. We should have stayed the Department of War the whole time. We called it the Department of War when we won wars, by the way. I'm just saying. And they had to change it to defense. Why? Because they don't want us to be on the offensive. They want us to be defensive all the time, wait for something to happen, and then react. That happened in 9/11, which, by the way, today's the anniversary, 24th anniversary of 9/11. So last night, the Yankees did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. They put his picture on the big Jumbotron, and they had a moment of silence. I thought it was very classy and very cool. And Donald Trump is going to the Yankee game tonight. And he may throw out the first pitch. I don't know. He may just be there to watch the game and see New Yorkers. I think that's what he feels like he really needs to do right now, is just see New Yorkers after this tragic thing. But the moment of silence for Charlie, I thought was really a good thing to do. I don't know how many other ballparks did it. Do you know who didn't do it? They tried to do it. Was our House of Representatives. Mike Johnson wanted to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and the left started shouting and would not allow a moment of silence for a dad of two kids and a loving wife. They wouldn't do a moment of silence for him. And they're getting away with the narrative that Charlie Kirk was hateful. And I'm sorry, he just wasn't. That is the exact opposite of what Charlie Kirk was. So if you're going to shout how hateful he is, if you're going to have that narrative, before you do, go watch some of his debates with college students on campuses, and you'll see that you're wrong, but you won't do it because you know you're wrong and you don't want to admit that you're wrong. So I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I mean, you guys are all on our side. I'm sure there's a lib or two in the audience somewhere, or probably in the chat box. But the point is, before you say anything about Charlie Kirk, watch what he says to people. Watch what he says to these kids. You know, the staunchest enemy of his would come up to the microphone and he would just smooth it all out, give them some good advice, and move on their way. And I'll say this again, at those campus chats, he would always let the people who hated him the most go first. He also does a thing where this is indoors. He'll have like 20 kids in a circle and then 2 chairs in the middle of the circle, and he'd sit in one of them, and then they would have this timer. When time ran out, kids would try to race to get to the desk to talk to him first. And a lot of the kids who think they know more than him, they think that the faster they talk, the more correct they are. And I swear to God, that's got to be their plan, their game plan. Just talk real fast, and don't let them say anything. And talk real fast, talk over them, talk real fast, and then you'll look like you're right. And they never do, because it's Charlie's gig, right? He's got the microphone, and he's going to say what he wants to say, and he'll prove that you're wrong. So I'm really disgusted with people, even people that I know that are on Facebook saying how happy they are that Charlie Kirk was murdered. What kind of scumbag are you to say something like that? And you'll lose friends. I'll lose friends on Facebook this week for sure. And I don't care. I just don't care anymore, because now this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate insult to what Ken and I do here every day, to say that Charlie Kirk is hateful without even listening to anything that he says. But I guess that's the left's way of arguing anyway, right? They just hear somebody say it on Reddit. The kids hear something on Reddit. Oh, what? Did you know that Charlie Kirk is hateful? Did you know that? Yeah, let's tell everybody Charlie Kirk is hateful. And have you heard him be hateful? No. But I'm Reddit on Reddit. So he's got, it's got to be right. He's hateful. So MSNBC, I don't know. I swear to God, I don't know how they're still in business. More people watch SpongeBob SquarePants on Cartoon Network than watch MSNBC. And they have commentators like Fox News or Newsmax does. And they always go to the darkest, worst place they could possibly go. So Katie Tur, on her show last night, she goes and she throws it to Matthew Dowd. And listen to what this guy says.
But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
So MSNBC, put an online apology up last night about what he said. It was inappropriate. And then about an hour later, they fired him. So he's gone. But this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to play it again, and we're going to stop it as if Ken were here.
But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive.
Why has he been divisive? Because he's a conservative and you're a liberal? Why aren't you the one that's divisive? Because Charlie Kirk gave a message of uniting more than he did dividing, but they love to say the word divisive. They love it.
Especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech.
This hate speech. Do you know what Charlie Kirk's hate speech was? He says a man is a man and a woman is a woman. So the left-wing crowd in the United States, I don't even want to just say the people on TV, the left-wing idiots online don't believe that a woman is a woman and a man is a man. Well, what is a woman? Well, I don't know. Somebody who wants to be a woman. Well, I want to be a billionaire, and that hasn't worked out, right? So, okay, let's continue.
Sort of aimed at certain groups.
The LGBTQ groups is what he's talking about. He has had LGBTQ students come up to him at these debates, and they talk, and Charlie convinces them at least that he's not divisive, because the one thing that should bring us together is Jesus Christ and the Bible. That how divisive is that? If that's divisive, the left has made that divisive, not us.
And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
Look in the mirror, okay, buddy? Look in the mirror. Hateful thoughts. I can't remember it. Let's let him say it again.
Hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
Hateful ideas lead to hateful words, which leads to hateful actions, justifying assassinating Charlie Kirk in Utah yesterday. And I had you know what? Can we play something from this list of stuff you gave me here? I would like to hear number 9, please, Jason Chaffetz. Jason Chaffetz is a follower of God and Jesus Christ and the Bible. He's from Utah. He was a representative, no longer, and I do miss him being in the House of Representatives. From the first time they had him on yesterday, I said to Jessica, I said, he's crying already. And he was only 20 seconds into what he was saying. He's not crying, but he's holding back the tears as best he can.
We've got Jason Chaffetz on the phone.
I was there. My daughter was there. Son-in-law's there. My wife was there. I mean, Charlie Kirk coming to town. We were excited. 30 minutes into his presentation, 2:30 local time. And the question was about transgender shooters, mass killings, versus people that weren't transgender. And when that happened, when that question came out, and he's going to have the interaction, one shot. I was watching Charlie. I can't say that I saw blood. I can't say that I saw him get hit, but I did see him fall immediately backwards into his left. And I can just hope and pray that somehow he survived that.
Yeah, well, he didn't survive it. You can hear the tears. You can hear the emotion in Jason Chaffetz's voice. I'll say it again. I really wish he stayed, but he did it the right way. You come, you do a couple of terms, you get out. You don't do it like Nancy Pelosi, stay there for life and make $170 million on your $174,000 a year annual salary. And he knew Charlie. He loved Charlie. And it was hard for him to get through it. It was hard for me to get through the whole thing with Karen at 10. And I knew that was going to happen. I drove in this morning and I said, don't cry. You're not going to cry. You're going to get through this like a professional and you're not going to cry. And that didn't work out. But, when you think about his kids, and you think about his wife, and what's going to happen to them. President Trump had an address last night from the Oval Office. The whole thing is 4 minutes. I don't know. It's kind of long to play the whole thing, but maybe if I get permission to play that, I'll play the whole thing. Otherwise, we'll play it in chunks and get through it that way. So where we are now, they do have a weapon that they say is the weapon, high-powered rifle that killed Charlie Kirk. And you have to ask yourself, was this some sort of coordinated thing? Was anybody else in on this? Okay, I'm going to say this. Or I didn't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. There is a video from the point of view left of Charlie Kirk. And there's a guy standing behind him. I'm just giving you facts, okay? I'm not saying anything but giving you facts. There is a guy in a white shirt and a white baseball cap, and he touches the top of his cap, and then kind of pulls on his ear. And then that's exactly when the shots rang out. I'm just saying that's what happened. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it was a signal and that this guy was in on it, because I don't know how somebody who's in on it could get that close to Charlie Kirk, because he was right behind him, right behind Charlie. So you can watch that and you can make that decision for yourself on, I don't know. I'm just so sick of it all. I'm just so sick of the divisiveness that they're blaming on us, and it's them. It's them that are divisive, not us. And we don't get radical, When was the last time you saw? Because they're going to want to blame this on some American flag waving 2A member right wing guy, and I guarantee you it's not that. And the fact that he just disappeared makes you think, and he dropped the gun. Remember when Michael Corleone kills Sollozzo and McCloskey in the restaurant? They told him just drop the gun because it was an untraceable gun. This may have been an untraceable gun. I don't know. The guy wore gloves, so there's not going to be any fingerprints on the rifle. But apparently they do have it. They find the high-powered rifle. I'll jump into that story when we go to break here, and we'll try to figure it out. Okay. Whistle Pig in Troy, Missouri is where Mike Ferguson is. He'll be there from 11 to 1 o'clock. Go on by, say hello. We'll hear from him 1 hour in this show and 1 hour in Jamie's show. And he'll be out there from 11 till 1 o'clock at the Whistle Pig in Troy, Missouri. All right. Before this whole Charlie Kirk thing happened, I was all prepared to give a Porcelli's Deli to you about 9/11, and we will do that, and we will do that next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
The news and talk
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
that matters to St. Louis.
Good morning, Democrats.
Mondani, this is a guy who wanted to defund the police just not a few weeks ago.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right. Can I talk to you about the Bauer Insurance Agency? They're the company that protects, the name you can trust. Owned and operated by Cindy Blanton, who's our friend. She comes in all the time and talks to us. Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses since 1986. That's a whole bunch of years of experience. And as a family-owned company rooted in strong values, they have always prioritized your best interests. Your home is not just a structure, of course. It's an investment. It's your most treasured asset. So with a trusted insurance partner by your side, you can navigate through things much easier, okay? And you can enjoy true peace of mind knowing that your investment is protected. Biggest investment you'll ever make. Bauer Insurance Agency is located in the Mid-Rivers Mall at 1600 Mid-Rivers Mall, Suite 2304, St. Peters. Give them a call and say hi to Cindy for us. Their phone number is 636-812-2001. They're licensed in Missouri and Illinois. Bauer Insurance Company, 636-812-2001.
Big things always happening at The Hideout. Tim Jones here with a reminder. The Hideout is famous for the Sunset Patio. 50 big screen TVs, live music, special events, and of course, the food. The Hideout in High Ridge features the best handcrafted burgers around, the signature Sunset Dip, Dave's Delicious Chili. See for yourself why The Hideout is the stop for lunch, dinner, or their famous happy hour on the Sunset Patio. Check it all out. HideoutSportsBar.com, Hideout Sports Bar on Facebook. See it for yourself, 3367 High Ridge Boulevard. I'll see you at the Hideout.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to overstockoutletstl.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
News Talk STL.
A man walks down the street, he says, why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle? The rest of my life is so hard. I need
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. How you doing? Thanks for being with us. Thanks for putting up with me. It's a tough day. I mean, the timing of everything. Of Charlie Kirk got assassinated yesterday, and here we are on the 24th anniversary of 9/11, which leads us to Porcelli's Deli.
Welcome to Porcelli's Deli.
Yes, very good. I'll have a Bloody Mary and a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich, please.
Over here.
I bet the Chinese food here is terrible.
With Vic Porcelli.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
Porcelli's Deli is moved to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Come on in. We're open. Have a seat. Vic will tell you a story.
All right, before we get to that, your comments in the chat box are awesome today. They always are. Today, even more awesome. So we're going to have a very good chat box session. Just not as, goofy. As less goofy as I can get. So 24 years ago today, it was a Tuesday. The weather in New York City was not a cloud in the sky, not one. And I was driving in to my job. I was at the river at the time, 101 the river. And I was actually in the car early because we had a staff meeting that morning. You know, all the DJs get together with the program director and, they tell us what's going on. And I'm listening and I hear the morning guy say, boy, I'm looking at the World Trade Center in New York City and it's on fire. Burning, it's burning. And I was like, oh, that can't be good. And then they did the first report that a plane hit the first tower. In my head, I thought, if you remember a golfer named Payne Stewart, he was in a private plane over Texas and something happened. I don't know anything about flying or anything, but the oxygen left the plane somehow. And everybody that was on board died while it was in the air, and the plane fell harmlessly into the desert in Texas. I thought it was something like that. And then I hear on the radio that a plane hits the second tower. And I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. Then Jessica calls me and she says, oh my God, a plane hit the Pentagon. And I was like, my God, we're under attack. This is war. We're definitely under attack. So I get to work and everybody's crying. And our radio station at the time, for whatever reason, because a lot of the stations in town, let me explain this. A lot of radio stations in town just use the audio of like CNN or NBC or something like that to get the national coverage. Well, our management at our station said, nope, Vic and Trish are going to take care of this. And Trish and I were there for 8-9 hours, covering this terrible disaster, this terrible attack on America. And I was humbled that they would want us to do that. Did we do a good job? We did everything we could do, And keeping in mind that I'm from that part of the country originally, and I got calls from people that I knew that they said they could see the smoke from Jersey. And there's one beautiful apartment building in Montclair, New Jersey. It was way up on a hill. And if you drove up that hill, you can actually see the towers on fire. So we got through it as best we could. I actually surprised myself that I was able to get through it. I can't get through it anymore, oddly enough, right? Now that I'm here doing talk radio. But I got through it. And by the time I got home and sat at the dinner table, I'm completely lost it. The bravery of people. By the way, Steve Buscemi, the actor, he was a firefighter before he was an actor. And he went back to the firehouse that he worked at before he became an actor and did what he could. He helped in the situation. And almost 3,000 people killed. Now, here's a weird story that I always like to tell on the anniversary of 9/11. James Woods, the actor, was on a plane sitting in first class about a week before 9/11. And these guys, Muhammad Atta and the rest of them, were on that plane in first class, a couple of rows in front of James Woods. Now, James Woods is an actor, but he also is a poker player, a professional poker player, and he's pretty good at it. And he had a bad feeling about these guys. And he asked the flight attendant if he could talk to the pilots. So this is a week prior or so before 9/11 when it was, sure, come on in the cockpit, right? So James Woods talked to the pilot and he said, I have every reason to believe these guys sitting in first class in the front row are going to hijack this plane. And they said, okay, we'll keep an eye on it. And he went back to his seat and they didn't, but they were dry running it. They could dry run on because it was the same flight number of one of the ones that were hijacked. And boy, on September 12th, the FBI was knocking on James Woods' door saying, hey, what else can you tell us? Yeah, great. Too late after so many people were killed. And, you know, I've never lived there when it happened. I've been living here since 1993. So I never got the full impact of living there and seeing this happen, but obviously it was terrible. The news coverage of it, ABC's was the absolute worst. I think it was Diane Sawyer who, and I'll bet, I didn't go back and listen, but I'll bet you Katie Couric too. She was doing the Today Show, and Diane Sawyer and Charlie Gibson were doing Good Morning America. Diane Sawyer's voice was, well, we see a tower on fire there. That's not a tone for the World Trade Center is on fire. And by the way, the Pentagon got hit. And by the way, Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And okay, let's talk about that for a minute. That flight didn't hit its intended target. And what was its intended target? Was it the White House? Was it the Capitol? Right? It had to be one of those two. And the people got together, passengers got together. They made a plan. They knew the guys didn't have guns, and there was enough guys to take over and muscle them and overtake the hijackers. And that one guy said, okay, let's roll. And that became a rallying cry for the United States at the time. Let's roll. Let's do it. And by the time the nightly news came on, I chose this one to play because I don't know. I have the lineup at that time was the news on ABC, CBS, and NBC. Peter Jennings was on ABC. Tom Brokaw was on NBC, and the dreaded Dan Rather was on CBS. And this was the beginning of the nightly news, but it's in special report fashion on ABC.
This is an ABC News special report.
Hello again, everybody. And for those of you joining us now who I cannot imagine under any circumstances expected to see a normal World News Tonight broadcast at this time, we've been on the air for the last 10 hours as the country has endured or is trying to get through, as one official here in New York said, this horrendous attack on the United States today in both New York City and outside Washington at the Pentagon, and an attack that may or may not have gone wrong on Camp David in Maryland, the president's country retreat, but certainly resulted in the deaths of some people on yet another airliner today. So this is going to be a very different broadcast, and try to deal in the next half hour, as we have to deal with today, in a comprehensive way, exactly what the United States has been through today.
Peter Jennings, the late Peter Jennings on the ABC Evening News, whatever they call themselves. And it was hard. It was hard to get through it, whether you were a broadcaster or just a citizen of the United States. It was not an easy day. So in a town called Westfield, New Jersey, there's a train station, the PATH train, that you can take from Westfield to get into New York City. And many people parked it there, got on the PATH train, took the train into New York, and then, of course, came home and went home. And there were a bunch of cars in the lot at that train station that nobody came back to, because those were people that were in the towers or on one of the planes. So I wanted to make sure I said that. And I think you know by now my love for editorial cartoons. And that day, they were on it. The cartoonists were on it. One put the Statue of Liberty not standing with that torch, but sitting with her face in her hands. And the one that I loved the most was Steve Breen was his name. He's not necessarily a conservative cartoonist, so don't get on me in case you see some liberal stuff. But his was, because the beauty of editorial cartoonists, to me, that they can make a message in a cartoon, sometimes with no words, not a word. And his cartoon was a bald eagle, representation of the United States, big, burly biceps and big guy sitting on a stool, and the eagle was sharpening his talons. And it was just amazing. I got a chance to talk to him, and he said that the Navy made flags of it and flew it under the American flag on the ships. And they also put it on T-shirts and wore it under their uniform, So just so you know, I'm not crazy about editorial cartoonists, because, they mean a lot, they do a lot, and they tried to get us through it. And when you think of 9/11, you have to think of God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood, right? So that's all the time we have for Porcelli's Deli on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. God bless America.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
News, analysis, opinion.
Historic meeting between European leaders, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump.
We want to stop the killing, get this settled.
101.9 and 94.1. We'll want peace. News Talk STL.
Some of the things I saw yesterday online, people on our side, the good guys, and there's no gooder guy, than Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. And he had a nice post yesterday on, I can't remember if it was on X or if it was on Facebook, but I was like, yep, that's my man, Chris Cooper. Exactly the kind of heart and emotion that I would expect from him. He's the best. And he also can help you find tax-efficient solutions And I love the way Chris words it, because he says you should have the retirement that you deserve and that you want. It's not selfish to say, I want this for my retirement. I want to travel. I want to live in Florida. I want to buy a boat and live on a boat. Whatever it is, you got to finance it, right? And Chris helps with that, of course. And he also doesn't want you to leave your money to the government, boo, government, or the medical or care community. Great people. They do great work. Just very, very expensive. And, of course, leave the money to your children or the charity of your choice. Either are great, and Chris will help you do that. Rudolph Giuliani right there walking on 9/11. He's got a radio show right here on News Talk STL. It's called Serenity Wealth Now, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock. And he's got a book you can read, The New Holistic Retirement. It's available for free at serenitynowtax.com. That's serenitynowtax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now!
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement Tea experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry out that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers. Sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at midnight in Rock Hill.
Tim Jones here. When life changes, which it does, you need someone you can trust, and that's Todd Sivia. The non-stuffy attorneys at Sivia Law specialize in estate planning and elder law with 7 convenient area locations. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL is how you reach them. CiviaLaw.com. The first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me receive a complimentary $300 strategy session. The non-stuffy attorney lawyers, Civia Law, 833-995-WILL.
Hey, News Talk STL listeners, this is Levi with Reach Reproductive Health. So first, I want to say thank you for standing in the gap for life, because truly it's because of people like you that many babies who otherwise would have been aborted are living today. I'm grateful to be fighting this cause with you. I'd like to invite you out to Reach's inaugural annual gala. It's our stakeholders launch. We're having it November the 6th at 6 p.m. at the Commons in Chesterfield. Space really is limited, so I want you to RSVP right now. Go grab your spot at outreachforlife.org. That's outreachforlife.org.
Fox News commentary.
The security camera footage of Irina Zarutska's brutal stabbing is disturbing for more reasons than one. Why did no one help her? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
You think your 401k is safe, growing, reliable. But here's the truth. The 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk onto you, leaving your retirement exposed to Wall Street crashes, inflation, and chaos. Noble Gold helps Americans roll over part of their 401k into real physical gold. Tax advantage, penalty-free, and shockproof. Get your free wealth protection kit now at noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Footage of Irina Zarutska's stabbing is graphic, but what's even more disturbing is how little those around her seemed to care as she sat there bleeding out. How do we get to a point where watching someone, especially a young, innocent woman, be brutally attacked stirs almost no reaction, no instinct to help? What were they thinking? I genuinely can't wrap my head around it. With the exception of maybe one individual, they just sat there. And as horrifying as this is, it's not an isolated incident. We've seen it before. A repeat offender who should have never been on the streets attacks someone innocent while the people nearby stay frozen, numb, detached, unfazed. Maybe some are afraid of the Daniel Penny effect if they step in, but that fear can't become an excuse. If we lose our will to protect one another, what's left of our humanity? I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Agree.
I think conservatives have it wrong.
Or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump. I'm shaking my head. I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it. That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We, the people, will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
101.9 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL.
All right. Joe Walsh from Rocky Mountain Way. Can use that anytime, especially today. So we got Newsmax on here in the studio and, other things we're looking at. And right now, Newsmax is, they're showing former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. And he was the perfect guy to have as mayor when this went on in 9/11. And how quickly people turn on you, right? Rudolph Giuliani cleaned up New York City and made it safe to be in again because it wasn't before he was there. Got elected, cleaned it up. He got us through 9/11 as the mayor of New York. And now, of course, he likes Trump. So he must be an ass. So anyway, all right, let's get our next guest going. Donald Wilkie, we've talked to him before. Great to have him back. His book is called Freedom Revealed, A Simple, Elegant System. Donald, thanks for being with us. Tough day today to get through,
It is. A lot is going on.
It really is. And, we just did our tribute to 9/11, but Charlie Kirk, that story just, I can't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. I just can't get it through my head.
Yeah, that is just a tragedy. Just a real tragedy.
So I love the hypocrisy of people like J.B. Pritzker or Brandon Johnson, right? Governors like him, mayors like Brandon Johnson, who say, we don't need your National Guard troops. We're just fine. And they know they're not just fine, right? At least 5 to 7 people get shot and killed in Chicago every single weekend. So why not have the National Guard in to help, right?
Well, exactly. And I would like to comment on your statement about Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
And the function of our government, what our government's supposed to do. If you read the preamble of the Constitution, it is specifically stated, preserve domestic tranquility. Our government is supposed to ensure domestic tranquility. Rudy Giuliani did that.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, I like to call him Brandon,
mm-hmm.
in Chicago and Pritzker are not doing that. Now, the interesting thing that nobody realizes, nobody puts together with domestic tranquility, is that when you have no domestic tranquility, it is like you have no law. And when you have no law, the marketplace cannot work. And when the marketplace cannot work, poverty is exacerbated. Poverty gets worse. So we have these cities where the poorest of our people live, and we are making it so they have to become poor.
Yeah.
The stores close, the factories close, the people that pay taxes to the city leave.
Yeah.
And I had this experience in Detroit. I said, how could these people be so stupid? Don't they understand what they're doing? They're killing the city of Detroit. I eventually was forced to leave. But then I got thinking, they're not that stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it's insidious. I believe these people want the dependency. They want the poverty. They want the crime. And they want, most importantly, the vote. And as long as they're giving welfare, giving aid, taking care, and promoting that the government will take care of you, they're going to get the vote. And it's a really sick, insidious type of, Machiavellian, if you will.
Sure. And if you take a microphone and a camera, TV camera, and you walk through the streets of Chicago and you ask the actual people what they think about Donald Trump bringing in the National Guard to help, they're like, yeah, bring it on. So what does that say?
Yeah.
What's that say about Brandon Johnson and Pritzker, who they don't care about the will of the people or the good of the people, and they just want to get elected and keep the power. Like Pritzker doesn't have enough billions, but anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I had a shop in Detroit. I had a foreman by the name of Willie, and he took his wife to Alabama to see his family. And while he was down there, the person he had house sitting, he had to have a person house sitting while he was gone, decided to leave. And that night at midnight, he jumped in the car with his wife and drove all the way back to Detroit because he couldn't afford to keep his house without somebody in it. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been ripped off. So, I mean, nobody likes living in fear like that. Nobody likes living in terror. And what we have to do, and I'm proud to say Trump is doing that, is give people some hope that that can go away.
And I think that, like, let's take Charlotte, this terrible incident that happened, which we've already forgotten about, right? This poor Ukrainian woman, we haven't talked about her all morning, murdered by some sicko. And
yeah,
right. And oh, you know what? I may have it. Let's see if we can hear this together, Donald, because Brian Stelter, who I thought, went away, but apparently he let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry. He said that they're trying to make, like, the right is trying to make, oh, come on, I don't have it, really? Father J.B. Pritzker, no, I guess I don't. I'm sorry to tease you on that. Oh, here it is. Nope, here it is. Listen to what Brian Stelter says about the thing in North Carolina.
Most murders in the U.S. never become national news. This one's garnered attention for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, the recent release of that gruesome video. Second, the energy from pro-Trump activists. They picked up on this video from local news and ran with it. It's a little bit like the times when civil rights groups have raised attention about police-involved shootings. In this case, it is Trump-aligned influencers who are posting up a storm about this case on social media. Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime.
It is a symbol of big city crime.
Brian Stelter nailed it, didn't he?
Yeah, sure did.
Exactly that.
And did you at the beginning of that clip, did you think he was going to say that this is terrible because of the release of this terrible human who's been released 14 times? But no, it was because of the release of the video. I mean, he's such a jackass.
Yeah.
My God.
Well, this all gets to the rule of law. The Democrats, when they're taking Trump to court, are very proud to talk about the rule of law. But when it's their own city, they don't want to mention the rule of law at all.
Yeah.
And anarchy is the reason we have government. I mean, no laws, no rules is anarchy. And we form government to stop anarchy. And yet, if you don't enforce the rules, if you don't enforce the laws, you can have all the mayors, all the city councils, all the police in the world, but you still got anarchy. No rule of law.
So how do you get elected when you condone that?
Well, you're also promising free stuff,
Which runs out.
We're not going to take this stuff away from you. You deserve this. You deserve food. You deserve income. You deserve childcare. You deserve all these things. And the point of a system of freedom that I mentioned in my book is we have adults in nature. In nature, you are a dependent and you make the transition to independent. And all the animals do that. But we are trying to teach humans that they don't ever have to become adults. They can stay dependents. They can stay children. And that's what's happening in our inner cities. But these adult children get to vote. And why is it that every big rotten city has a Democrat administration? they get the votes. That's it.
And I love how, it's because really the life has become, Donald, how you word things, right? The narrative. And they'll say things like, well, what about these red states? They're so bad. And I'm like, excuse me, we're a red state in Missouri, but it's a blue city in the city of St. Louis, second most dangerous in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm from Detroit, so I've been fighting this. Yeah, I get it. I just, what they did in Detroit was criminal, but it was obvious to me after a long time, but it was not obvious at the beginning because, we have this person, he's in this position, he goes to court, we have the judges, and the judges all ruled this way, and the ruling always came out that business was bad, shouldn't be in the city, and we're going to raise the costs on business. Well, what happened is when they raise the cost, businesses leave. When businesses leave, the city has no tax revenue. When they have no tax revenue, the citizens get no services. Then the stores move out. And so people have to drive miles away to get anything, everything is connected.
Everything.
And we need to realize that.
Freedom Revealed, a simple, elegant system. That's the book. Donald, you could get that on Amazon, anywhere, Barnes & Noble, stuff like that, right?
Yep, okay. Absolutely.
Donald, always great to talk to you. Great conversation. We really appreciate you. And let's talk again soon, okay?
Thank you, Vic.
You got it, man. You got it. And, he picked up on the Giuliani thing, too. Because, Rudolph Giuliani, but America's mayor, Rudolph Giuliani. He was a Yankee fan. He's always sitting in the front row at Yankees games. And again, I'll say that the Yankees last night had a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and the people in the House of Representatives of the United States couldn't do it. They yelled and they screamed when they were trying to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. All right, listen, Mike's at the Whistle Pig, and Troy will be there. Well, he's there. I'm sure he's there, but he'll be talking to us at about 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. America's psychiatrist, which I need one right now, Dr. Carol Lieberman, and I, we booked her before this whole Charlie Kirk thing. So we'll see what she has to say about that, if she can get through that. And Ken Williams at 11:25. All right, let's take some time out for news, go to the bathroom, get some more coffee, right? Stuff like that. Just trying to open the door, let you see inside what happens here. And by the way, if I don't laugh, I'll cry, okay? So thanks for helping me get through this on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. President Trump led the nation in marking the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has the report.
Joined by top military brass, the president addressed a somber observance at the Pentagon, one of the 3 9/11 crash sites.
As one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001.
He spoke of America's resilience in the years since the terror attacks. Following his remarks, the president and first lady laid a wreath in the Pentagon chapel to honor those who lost their lives. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And at the World Trade Center site in New York City, the nearly 3,000 victims' names were being read aloud, and near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a similar ceremony honoring the victims of Flight 93. While at the Pentagon service, President Trump also made this announcement.
I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
Kirk, a Salem radio talk show host, was speaking at a debate hosted by his Turning Point USA organization at Utah Valley University when authorities say the shooter fired from a distant roof. The search for the shooter is continuing. Utah Governor Spencer Cox calls the shooting a political assassination. Law enforcement officials say the sniper who assassinated Kirk has not yet been identified and is believed to have jumped off a roof and fled into a neighborhood that's after firing one shot. The FBI said officials have recovered a high-powered rifle from the scene. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Each year, thousands of Missourians answer the call to serve. They leave their jobs, their families, and their routines to uphold justice in our courts. Missourians are a backbone of our state's legal system. Your time, your fairness, and your commitment to the truth make a difference. The right to a jury trial is fundamental to upholding our Constitution and democracy. To the thousands of Missourians who report for jury duty each year, thank you. Sponsored by the Missouri Bar, Misha Buford Epps, Executive Director.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, third hour of our 3-hour tour. Ken Williams, the great one, will be with us at 11:25. Right now, a person I really truly need today. She is America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I'm going to consider this a psychiatric, appointment with you, but I'm not paying you.
Okay.
So how do I get over this? I can't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. I know it's baby, and I get it, but I can't believe the guy's dead.
I know. I have been having a lot of trouble believing that myself. There are some people in life who are just so full of life and so powerful and so many plans for the future that it seems impossible for them to die.
Yeah, and somebody as positive as Charlie. He was so positive about everything.
Yes, he did such good in his short 31 years. He did so much good for the world.
I'm glad you brought that up, his age, because he was born the year that I came to St. Louis from New Jersey. That was the first year I got here in St. Louis, and that was the year he was born. So as a doctor, as a psychiatrist, how do you diagnose the left when they say his hateful attitude, his divisive language? How do you deal with that?
Well, it's all a part of Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes, it is.
Because people who are associated with Trump, like Elon Musk and J.D. Vance, J.D. Vance supposedly killed the Pope, right, according to the left. And now, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk got that same spell. He was under that same hateful spell. And so, that's the plan. To get rid of all the people who are passionate, the most passionate people about America. That is who the left is trying to eliminate. And, it's particularly poignant on 9/11, that Charlie was assassinated right before 9/11, because one of the things, I have a whole list of things that make us more vulnerable today than we were on 9/11. And number one, it's our divisiveness. The assassination of Charlie Kirk shows how divisive we are, and enemies, divided we fall, not only to terrorists, but to all our enemies.
And the left wants, sorry, I took some coffee there. The left wants to, ban our guns, take our guns. And they mean us. They don't mean, the black kids in North St. Louis who kill each other every night and every weekend, and in Chicago as well. They mean us, the right wingers, right? So,
yeah.
But isn't it weird how it's always the left wing that are firing the guns at people?
Yes, right. I mean, there's no, I totally disagree with the idea of banning guns for anybody, everybody.
Of course.
Because ever since Obama became president, that's when I finally realized, because I used to be very I still am anti-media violence and all that, but, including guns. Not so much for people, but like for kids. And I guess I still am against getting toy guns for kids. But I am certainly, when Obama became president, I realized this is why we all need to have guns, because we can't trust that the president of the United States is really going to have our best interests at heart.
And, the thing that gets me is we're letting them choose the narrative, And Ken and I have been on this rampage of conservatives being on the offensive, not the defensive,
Mm-hmm.
And I think the ultimate of that is the Department of War, right? Why were we the Department of
Yeah.
Defense? Why were we defensive?
Yeah.
It's about war. You want to go to war with us? We'll kick your ass. That's how it should sound.
Yes, I love that. Yes, I think that was that was a very important change, very significant. Certainly to give more morale to the military.
Yeah.
And for all of us, really, we're not going to just hide under a blanket. We're going to be out there, not starting wars, but certainly protecting.
And here we are now defending ourselves literally from gunfire, from transgender, people. For the last 5 shootings, mass shootings, have been transgender people, and this whole embracing of the LGBTQ movement has just gotten so far that you're not talking about the majority of the Americans anymore. You're talking about a small slice of the population.
Yes, it is a small slice. Excuse me, but it's an even smaller slice who are authentically transgender. There are people who are born having been exposed to a lot of different hormones in their mother's womb, and then experiencing various traumatic relationships with their mother and father. And those are the kinds of things that send them on their way to becoming authentically LGBTQ+.
Right.
But that's not the majority of the trans who we have today. The trans people today are manufactured. They are manufactured by teachers, by social media, by the movement, the progressive movement, that this is cool if you just defy people, get it also to get attention. That's a lot of it as well. Defy people, tell them they have to call you this and they have to call you by the right pronouns and all of this. Yes, but I am actually not for banning guns for trans people because that's a very slippery slope.
Yes.
You can try to say, well, that's a mental illness, for those who have been, unfortunately, for those who have been made to become trans, who have bought into this. Yes, they obviously have some things that they're suffering from, including identity disorder. But if you start banning trans people from having guns, then it's a very slippery slope. What about people who have anxiety? What about people who have depression? They might want suicide by cop. You can name pretty much a lot of different mental illnesses and say that they should be banned. When really even schizophrenics, there's schizophrenics who hear voices who say they should go out and kill people, but you can't really make a blanket statement like that. So I'm really not for that.
As long as we have the right to be armed to defend ourselves, because whether the person's trans or not trans, if they shoot, I'm shooting back. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. So one thing about transgenderism, and I wonder if when they're telling these kids that they can change their gender and let's say a man wants to be a woman, do they tell them that they'll never have sexual pleasure ever again?
Of course not.
But that's true, right?
Well, it depends, how far they go in their transition. But doctors, and mental health professionals, family doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, all kinds of mental health professionals, the people who are involved in these clinics who say yay or nay to people who come thinking that they are of the opposite sex, they are not doing deep dives into the person's psyche. In order to be able to say that the person has gender dysphoria, needs to have had certain symptoms for 6 months at least. And they're not getting into that. They're not figuring out whether the person is unhappy because they think they're the wrong sex or because their parents are getting divorced. They're getting bad grades in school, or their best friend broke up with them, or whatever. You need really hours. Well, technically, you need 6 months to be able to observe these symptoms. But they're giving them these incredibly brief interviews, chats. Really, you can't even really call them interviews, and then deciding, yes, that's right. If you change your gender, you will be happy. Right. You will be happy. You will be gorgeous, handsome. You will, you'll find love. You'll find everything. and people are buying into it. And so it's a fault of the medical profession as well for just because they're making a lot of money on this.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Same thing with COVID. The hospitals made the money. But I just don't, if you're going to change sexes, change genders, and you go from a man to a woman and they put that piece of apparatus in you that a woman has, there's no pleasure. There's no way to have pleasure.
Well, and then of course, depending upon, for a lot of the trans, they can't have babies.
Right.
They can't. Yes, they don't tell them about all the downside of it.
Yeah.
They just tell them it will solve all their problems.
Exactly right. She is America's psychiatrist. You got a book we can talk about, right? Oh yeah, Lions and Tigers and Terrorists. Oh my.
Yes, my book is for kids and adults who love them, grown-ups who, teachers and parents and anyone who has a kid who they love, or teaches a kid that they love, cares about what these kids need to know when there are again terror attacks. And terrorism, people have gotten so complacent about 9/11. Even, did you watch this morning the reading of the names at Ground Zero?
Yep.
Well, did you see how they with the camera, they had people walking behind the people who were reading the names?
Yeah.
That was awful.
It's disrespectful.
Every year it gets, yes. Every year it gets more disrespect. It gets less remembered. So I just want to mention that this is going to be the fifth year. This is the fifth year that I am having my music video be running on mobile billboard trucks around Manhattan in the afternoon, and then at Yankee Stadium in the evening, because Trump is going to be going to Yankee Stadium. So there will be a lot of people there, and people who aren't going to be in either of those places can see the video on my website, which is terroristtherapist.com. And yes, of course, my book, families need to understand that the kids need to realize that we are, as I started to say at the beginning, we are more vulnerable now than ever. Not so much by another 9/11 attack, although of course that could happen again, but also even more dangerous are all the terrorists who have been getting to be in positions of power in politics, like the Squad, or in education, or in the media.
Military?
Well, yes, the military too, for that matter, right? And that is how they are exerting their influence. And yes, there will be more attacks. Now that we're out of the lockdowns, there'll be more attacks, regular attacks as well. But Europe is, people need to go online and to check out what is happening in Europe. The terrorists have already overtaken, England, especially the UK. But also France. There are churches burned almost every day in France. There are people being raped, and all the girls, boys too, for that matter, kids in France and the UK and in Germany and in Belgium. They have already been overtaken by terrorists. And that is going to happen here. The terrorists wanted to overtake the West, not just Europe. They want to overtake the world, really. For 1,000 years, this is not a new concept. It's not just since 9/11.
You're right. Lions and Tigers and Terrorists. Oh, my. Dr. Carol Lieberman, America's psychiatrist. We absolutely love having you on the show. Do I owe you money for this session, or do I get a compliment?
No, it's a complimentary.
Pro bono. Okay, great. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome.
All right. So, Ashley, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Ken is next. I don't want to take any time away from him. Chat box has exploded, so I don't want to take any time away from that. So if we break a little late and play President Trump's address about Charlie Kirk from the White House, would that be okay to do now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see if this is even the right one, because now this has gone away from me. Why did that happen? Well, I'm going to just start playing this, and if it's not right, we'll have to find some other way.
We heard President Trump
Nope, that's not it. Here we go.
Fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson here at Whistle Pig Outdoors in Troy, Missouri. Got to come out and see us, man. This store is awesome. I am here with Jason. Jason, listen, deer season starts Monday. Obviously, you know that. Hunters know that. But do hunters, particularly bow hunters, have time to make those adjustments to their equipment to have a great deer hunting season?
They got a little bit of time left. They can come in. We can get your bow timed. If you need any new parts, we'll get those installed. We do arrows, custom arrows. So, yes, you have some time. Get it in here, and we'll get it taken care of.
And we're talking about in-house expertise that you're just not going to find in a lot of other areas.
That is correct. We have an on-staff bow tech, Jay, who is phenomenal at what he does, so he can fix pretty much anything.
All right. Once again, stop by Whistle Pig Outdoors. We're on Main Street in Troy, Missouri. I'm going to be here until about 1 p.m. Look for the Newstalk STL muscle car. It is out front. And of course, in the meantime, whistlepigoutdoors.com.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here.
Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1,
and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli, and the guy that I've been thinking about since about 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, the great Ken Williams. Kenny, how ironic is it that you are in Utah where all this happened?
Yeah, Vic. Hey, first of all, good morning to you and to everybody, and thanks for playing that Eric Clapton song for me.
Yep, you bet. So, I mean, what you're in Utah. What was the reaction when something like this, a national story about a guy that people hate for some reason when he doesn't hate anybody? What was the mood? What was the vibe?
Well, it was really interesting, Vic, because I'm unplugged, right? And so I'm actually one of those people that you and I always talk about that just go to work every day and then they come home and they don't really pay close attention and they might miss that story. Well, this story is so big here in Utah because it was here that you heard it everywhere. In fact, when I walked past the main part of Zion, one of the buildings there, they had a the American flag at half staff because of Charlie Kirk's assassination, because President Trump told everyone to put the flags at half staff. Local news, Vic, they said Charlie Kirk was a controversial figure. Okay, and I don't understand that.
I don't
okay, because they always say that about a conservative, but right. Charlie Kirk, he was pro-life. The left hates that. Pro-law, pro-family. He was a Christian conservative, Vic, that he spread the word to a lot of college students. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but back when Charlie Kirk first started doing this tour, Prove Me Wrong tour, there were only dozens, tens, I tell you, of only people who, of people who would show up to these events because they were afraid, Vic.
Yeah.
The kids were afraid. If they were Christian conservatives, they had to actually hide. And if you were a white Christian conservative, you were in trouble. Just stay away. So what he did is he gave them the ability to know that, that we're not alone. You're not alone. You can speak your voice. This is America. You have the right to have your own opinion. And that crowd, upon his assassination, was in the thousands, Vic.
Oh my God. I mean, it kills me that people can be so evil. And so, I mean, I gotta go through my social media and just start deleting people that I hate now. I mean, I just hate them because of the things they're saying about Charlie Kirk, who never said anything hateful about anybody.
He never did. A father of two, he had a 1-year-old and I believe a 3-year-old. And he never said terrible things like awful attack thing. He said things that negative about the left, but they were only truth. And that's when
they weren't violent, right? They weren't violent.
No, they were. Now, when they were violent, he would come back and say, "You're violent," but he would say, "Prove me wrong." That was his whole spiel. Is prove me wrong.
Right.
And he didn't just speak, Vic. He didn't just speak to people that believed what he believed. He spoke to people on the left, and he had people who would come in with megaphones. He would ask them a question, and they would take a megaphone screaming at him. And he would sit there and say, well, no, this is about proving me wrong, and I'm asking you a question, and you're not answering me. That's the way you do dialogue. That's the way you create, just create actually inclusion, because you're allowing these people to say their piece, and then you either debunk it or agree with it, period.
Yep. All right, before we get updated right to the minute on this story, here we are, Ken, another assassination with the guy on a roof that you can see, and nobody stopped it.
Okay, something I received, and actually Rob Connor from Connor Roofing, he texted me, and he was really aggravated because all these people are saying, this crazy guy, this crazy nutbag on the nut job on the roof. Vic, this was an assassination by a professional. This was a person who had it planned out. It was all planned out, mapped out. We don't know who did it, but I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion that it was there were some top people in government, and I'm not talking about on the right, that had something to do with it. This is just my opinion, and we may or may not find out ever about this, but that's just the way I feel about it.
Well, Ken, when you get back Monday, we'll look at a video together, and then we'll talk about it, because right before Charlie Kirk was shot, and I'm just giving you facts. I'm not saying anything about conspiracy or anything like that. I'm just saying,
right.
These are the facts. There's a guy off of Charlie Kirk's right shoulder. He's standing on the stage, and then he takes his hand and he puts his hand on the brim of his hat, and then kind of like pulls his ear, and then the shot goes. That's just the facts right there. I don't know why. Don't know, but it could happen.
Well, you notice these things. See, this is the whole thing. Vic Porcelli notices things that nobody else does, and then we go on the air and we talk about them. But that's kind of what he did, Vic.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk, he once said that the interaction and engagement that he had with young people on college campuses, it was really it's a simple exercise that he always had. And he said that young people need the moral support and a reminder that it's okay to be a young conservative. The conservative movement among the young people in the United States is exploding, and that is right now, Vic.
I know.
Over the last 4 years, young people, especially young males, white males, they've been unrepresented. In fact, they've been demonized. I mean, we've talked about this many times.
Yeah.
And he's giving them a voice, and I believe that that's one of the reasons why this happened. Because, again, my opinion, Vic, but the left hates him for what he's doing to take away the young population from the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, everything you're saying makes sense to me, Ken. The president announced that he will give the Medal of Honor posthumously to Charlie Kirk. So that's great news, right? They'll give that to his wife, I guess. And
that's awesome news, yeah.
And the latest,
I can't even imagine what the family is going through, Vic.
I'm like, please, okay? I said I wasn't going to cry today. I already blew that once, okay? So talking about his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
The FBI has now released a photo of a person of interest in the Charlie Kirk assassination. And, they're asking for the public's help. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI if you've seen this guy. And I think you're so right about the professional hit part, Ken, because, okay, so this is stupid, but The Godfather, you remember The Godfather when Michael shot Salazzo and McCluskey in the restaurant? And what did Clemenza tell him to do? Just drop the weapon and go. Leave the gun, right?
And guess what he did?
This guy did that, right? So that's a professional move right there. And then instantly blended in with the crowd. I mean, he could have been at the airport in Utah in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and they have slight evidence. They've got I think they have like a forearm print and a possible palm print, but everything else is clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
This was not some nut job, Vic.
Yeah.
People need to stop saying that kind of stuff. That this guy was a trained, paid professional. Now, if that's true, Vic, if that's true, who was it that paid him?
Right. And it could be anybody, because everybody hated Charlie for no reason whatsoever. Last night at Yankee Stadium, Ken, they had a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and they put his face up on the big jumbotron.
That's awesome.
I think that's great. I was not expecting that even, and I
No,
think it's great.
no.
And Donald Trump is going to the Yankee game tonight.
That'll be great, and I'm sure he'll get a huge standing ovation, and the crowd will roar, and the legacy Pfizer media will be completely silent and lie by omission, Vic.
Or they'll say they booed him like they did for the U.S. Open for the tennis championship.
Well, what they'll do is they'll take a microphone and they'll focus it on like 5 people
right
that booed, and say, "See, the whole stadium booed him."
And I just want to remind everyone, after 9/11, and let's remember, Ken, today's 9/11 too. This all happened today. I can't take it. Like my heart can't take it.
Yeah, and I did want to say to the family, we're praying. We still pray for the families of the folks of the Patriots of 9/11 and also the 9/11 2013. Vic, remember Benghazi?
That's right, Ken. You're so smart. So going back to 9/11 though, 2001, when we got back to baseball, the World Series was going on, right? And George Bush went to Yankee Stadium to throw out the first ball. And I just love this story because Derek Jeter, he was down down under the stadium. They have batting cages and, you can pitch down there and everything. And he was just kind of throwing the ball, getting his arm warmed up. And Derek Jeter came up to him. He goes, "Hey, Mr. President, are you going to stand on the rubber or are you going to stand in front of the mound?" He goes, "I think I'll stand in front of the mound." He goes, "Nope, they'll boo you. Don't do that. Do it from the this is New York, do it from the rubber." And then he said, "And don't bounce it. Make sure you throw a strike." And he did. And the crowd went crazy. And Bob Shepard said, "Thank you, Mr. President." All right, Ken.
Well, Vic, real quick, I just had real quick. I just want to get. We were at a place called. It was a really cool place in one of the flats. And this young guy had a "Make America Great" Again hat on.
Right.
And that kind of reminded me, I saw like 3 or 4 young people with those hats on. So I'm just saying, there are more of those people, MAGA patriots, that are young and just want to get their voices heard than we know.
And that's why they shot Charlie.
Yep.
All right. So I want you to listen to something, and I'm sorry, but I'm not crying alone. Okay. This is Kayleigh McEnany last night on Hannity.
We talk about left and right, and Charlie would point right. But more than that, Charlie pointed up. He had this authentic, real love for Jesus Christ, and his conservative philosophy was an outgrowth of that. But he would go to these campuses. I would speak at his women's event, and he would speak to lonely people who were lost on social media, felt empty, felt depressed on college campuses, and he would give them hope in Jesus Christ. And the last thing I would say, Sean, is I know that I know that I know that I know this. Charlie Kirk did not die today. Yes, he left his body. But I guarantee you, when he took his last breath, the first words that he heard were Jesus Christ saying, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." We talk about left and right, and Charlie would point right. But more than that,
there you go, Ken. Last breath he took, the first voice you'll hear will be Jesus Christ. "Thank you, my servant." Sorry, buddy. I'm not crying alone in here, okay?
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Can't wait to see your face, all right? I love you.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
See ya.
I'm not crying alone. If I'm going to cry with my buddy Ken. All right, we'll check chat box next on 1019. This is Kent's favorite Clapton song. That's why he thanked us for it, and that's why I asked Ashlyn to play it, so it was cool. On News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Producer Joey V here. The IDF attacked Hamas members in Qatar, which has Trump upset. We'll talk to Steve Bucci of Heritage about the potential consequences of these actions.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
National Guard troops posted around the district.
We are removing many criminals from the streets.
I think the president made the right call on it.
That's too much. We don't need troops in the city.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson here at Whistle Pig Outdoors in Troy, Missouri. Got to come out and see us, man. This store is awesome. I am here with Jason. Jason, listen, deer season starts Monday. Obviously, you know that. Hunters know that. But do hunters, particularly bow hunters, have time to make those adjustments to their equipment to have a great deer hunting season?
They got a little bit of time left. They can come in. We can get your bow timed. If you need any new parts, we'll get those installed. We do arrows, custom arrows. So, yes, you have some time. Get it in here, and we'll get it taken care of.
And we're talking about in-house expertise that you're just not going to find in a lot of other areas.
That is correct. We have an on-staff bow tech, Jay, who is phenomenal at what he does, so he can fix pretty much anything.
All right. Once again, stop by Whistle Pig Outdoors. We're on Main Street in Troy, Missouri. I'm going to be here until about 1 p.m. Look for the News Talk STL muscle car. It is out front. And, of course, in the meantime, whistlepigoutdoors.com.
All right. The 9/11 commemoration has ended in New York City with the playing of taps. There's no way I could have played that for you today and still been a normal thinking, speaking human being. I couldn't have done it. And I didn't mean to do that to Ken that badly, but I knew it would get to him, you know, that Kaylee McEnany line that he had there. And she is something else. And you know what? Ken Williams is something else too. And I can't wait to have him back. You're doing a great job. It's got nothing to do about you. It's just saying that Ken is, you know, my brother, you know. All right. Chat box music. Let's go. Coyote 6 is in first today. She says, number 1, good morning, Patriots. And Ed congratulates Coyote. Congratulations. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. President, please continue to lead us to victory against the forces of evil. Trump. No fair elections, no peace. No fair tariffs, no peace. Good morning, all you beautiful, mega, ultra-patriotic, deplorable, garbagian, degenerate, freedom-fighting, God-fearing, Vic-head weirdos. Hello, Karen. I know how you're doing today, so Ed doesn't have to ask how you're doing because we already know. What a sad Thursday. Charlie Kirk loved God, family, and country. His voice will live on. Charlie is the current time equivalent of Martin Luther King, and they took him out. And one of my greatest friends in the world, Randy, texted me yesterday and said, what's the difference between this and the assassination of Martin Luther King? Nothing. Charlie was similar to Abraham. He invited those who disagreed with him to his tent to discuss their views openly and civilly. Yes, he did. And I don't know his name. I'm not up on all my rabbis. Karen maybe can help us figure it out. There was a rabbi last night on with Trace Gallagher late at night, and he said exactly that. He was the current day's Abraham. Charlie named his organization correctly, and today we are at just that. We are at a vital turning point. Boy, absolutely. Thanks for reminding me of that, Ed, because turning point, this incident yesterday was a inflection point, a flashpoint in the history of this country, because if they want it, they're going to get it. We're going to win it. Okay? So let's just hope it doesn't come to that. But if they want to fight, we're here. Charlie led so many young people out of wokeness and into Christianity. The left couldn't allow that. That's right. Cannot be like Christianity. Charlie was a threat to the libturds' indoctrination of youth. He was helping youth see common sense of being conservative. They wanted him removed. I don't doubt that. I'm not saying that's what happened, okay? Because when I accuse things of being a conspiracy, I get yelled at. So I don't want to say that. But I don't know why that guy touched his hat and in his ear right before the shot. I'm just saying. Karen, you go, girl. Let's honor Charlie's legacy by coming together en masse, en masse, and turning this country around. Newsom, Pelosi, Harris, Biden, Obama, etc. all come out against this travesty is nothing more than Ed's toy. Don't be fooled. They are grinning behind closed doors. Count on it. Ed's toy, of course, means everything Democrats say. The opposite is true. Hugs, Vic and Karen. Thank you so much. It's okay, Vic. I've been crying since yesterday. I just, it's just so hard. And I feel so bad for my wife because she just loved Charlie Kirk. She watched him almost every night. YouTube videos of him on campus speaking some common sense to kids and usually getting through to them. And I'm telling you, she took this really hard. Lunch lady, me too. I go through periods of extreme sadness and then anger. That's exactly it. That's exactly my wife and I. Sadness and anger and disbelief. I can't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. I know it's cliche, but this is a shot heard around the world. This shot has started an awakening of docile, God-fearing people who have had enough. It's time to turn this around. The time is now. Enough is enough. No more half measures. That's not in the chat box. That's me. No more half measures. Allison, yes, I keep thinking about Charlie and the little girl in the train. It's all overwhelming. Sure is. Praying for Erica Kirk and their two beautiful daughters, as well as all his young followers. Hailstorms do a job on solar panels and then leak toxins. We had a conversation with Dr. Bonner Cohen earlier about that. Yes, and today, 9/11, today is the day we add to the tragedies that we'll never forget. Pearl Harbor, World War I, World War II, Benghazi, Oklahoma City Federal Building, Afghanistan, Boston Marathon, and now Charlie Kirk's assassination. We will never forget. They eat fake meat. They don't care about farmers. They don't care about farmers. A message to all political, domestic, and foreign terrorists. You will never succeed in breaking down the USA. Common sense will prevail. The Democrats need cooling. There are many Democrat politicians on video calling for violence. He was leading kids out of the wilderness. Yes, he was. I need a day to mourn this tragedy. I'm with you, Allison. I do too. You can strip a gun very quickly if you are trained. And that was Ken's argument, that this was a professional hit. And this guy knew how to strip a gun. But he left it. He left the gun. Trump is awarding Charlie the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. We love that. Silence us and take our guns. If anyone believes Charlie got what he asked for, they're only truly evil people. I can't believe the disgusting evil people that I am sorry to say that I'm Facebook friends with. My husband and I call the governor of Illinois. Well, I can't say that. Come on, I can't say that. The sun will still rise. We will still raise the flag. We will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. You bet. True patriotism will prevail. God bless the USA and the patriots who believe. Amen to all of us. Born and raised in Illinois, I'm ashamed of the governor we have. He's a terrible person. His comments yesterday were disrespectful, disgraceful, disgusting, and despicable. I believe the Republican and independent voters in Illinois outnumber the Democrats statewide, except for Chicago, and maybe in Chicago too. Who knows? And if we all, here goes en masse again. I hope I'm saying that right. Come out and vote. We can flip it. You have to vote. You have to vote out the cheating. The Republicans and independents that don't vote really make me mad. Your vote does make a difference. Absolutely makes a difference. I hope Ken is enjoying his family time. He was till I made him cry. That's what I do. Distraction for a getaway. This was definitely a planned kill. He was shot precisely when a trans question was asked. A man disrupted and drew the officers to him. A distraction shooter gets away. Deep state? Could be. Good time to join the Washington Guard and learn self-defense and self-reliance. Come as a guest September 20th at our muster in Robertsville. Find out what we are all about. And I upset at the person who posted his video saying there's someone on the roof. Why was he yelling? Why wasn't there security at Charlie's crew? Charlie does have his own security detail, but it's not like, Secret Service. The Dem turds are despicable for booing the request to pray. Sick, mentally ill people who have gained office on lies and cheating and hating God. I'll throw in, that was me. Who wants friends that cheer on anyone being murdered? Right. It's just terrible. And if Facebook or X censor these lib turds for their hate posts, then they'd be screaming about freedom of speech. Hypocrites. Ed Story. Everything Democrats say, the opposite is true. Dowd should get a job picking crops. There are openings according to the lib turds. Ed Stoit, he could clean hotel rooms. Talking about Matthew Dodd, who was working for MSNBC and just said some vile stuff last night. And guess what? They fired him for it. And how did the shooter dressed like that, carrying a long gun, not be noticed entering the building? This smells. Then he gets off the roof and into the woods with no one seeing him. Smells even worse. Now they find a gun. Is it the gun used or a planted gun to set up a patsy? Oh, my God. All this could be true. This smells. Okay, we get it. It smells. Thanks for being there, Vic. I'll always be by your side, sir. Thank you so much. Beans Freedom Fighter 89. Appreciate you very much. Subdued deli today, but you still got to eat. Pastrami on marble rye with Dijon mustard, please. Oh, and a steak sandwich. Ed Stoit, I'll have the Reuben today. My sister was flying out of that area today. That day. I'm sorry, this is 9/11 comment. My sister was flying out of that area that day. She was at the airport. We couldn't reach her. Didn't know if she was on a plane. Then much later, we reached her. She was safe. There's so many people who were supposed to fly on 9/11 and didn't. Whether they were late, whether they just didn't get on the plane for whatever reason. She was on a business trip and they rented cars and drove back to St. Louis. Obviously, all airspace was closed during 9/11. And my wife, who was just doing travel at the time, business travel, had about 20 or 30 guys from one company. And she goes, okay, here's what we're going to do. Because you can't fly home, we're going to buy you a bus. So she bought a bus. And then they drove it from wherever they were back to New Jersey. And then they sold the bus and gave her money back. If you allow this tragedy to keep you from speaking up, fighting back, or even voting, then they win. That's their twisted plan: shock, chaos, fear, and intimidation. The libtards' excuse is that prisons are overcrowded. Let's some out is insane. Build more prisons, alligator, Alcatraz. Like rehabbing a house, this country needs to be stripped down to the studs and then rebuilt stronger. I start with clearing out activist judges, then political hacks. Hey, Vic, Jabba the governor had the Illinois National Guard in place and ready for action during the DNC. Oh, it's okay for him and the DNC. Yet says they are not needed to protect citizens from being killed. Vic and Ashland, thank you for getting us through this tragic day. The violence needs to stop. Thank you, Ashland. According to Fox News, Patsy loading. Who did this deep state use? For all of us, this is personal. Fox showing screenshots of a suspect, but I don't see a long gun being carried in these pictures, yet the gun was supposedly found in the woods. Everything smells. Everything stinks. Biggs, yes, I am feeling paralyzed. I can't get going today. Me too. I had that problem yesterday and now today too. I have a hard time just moving. Although this is a sad day, I'm proud of the St. Louis business community stepping up to sponsor the AMVET Smoking for Veterans Barbecue Bash on October 25th at Clancy's. Shout out to Saucy's Pizzeria in Catawissa. Mr. President, thank you for this beautiful speech. God bless America. Hi, Ken. Good to hear from you today. TMZ Newsroom erupted in laughter and applause when it was announced that Charlie Kirk died. They're sick. They're sick people. Hi, Ken. I saw the video. He looked like a baseball coach sending signals. That's the guy who was standing next to Charlie Kirk. He looked like he was giving the steal sign. Okay, shoot now. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you the facts. They never have released info on Thomas Crooks, who shot Trump, right? You're not crying alone. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate that. Welcome home, hits home today. As I said this morning, evil people do evil deeds. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Hey, I hit the like button. Oh, I forgot that. Thank you so much. Would it kill you to hit the like button, please? Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Share it with your friends and family and enemies, for all that matter. See if we can get through real quick to Facebook. Whoosh, my All-American Ultra MAGA Freedom Fighting Big Head family. Thank you, Dave. Somber day today. Been a tough few days of lib turd meltdown drama. Never forget Benghazi, 9/11/13. Ken did mention that. Good morning, Vic Head Patriots. I'm so brokenhearted and angry today. My brain can't comprehend that he's gone. I can't either. I cannot believe that Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. We got you. No worries. It's good to all be together, especially on such a somber day. Hearing him speak breaks my heart again. Good morning, fam band. Glad to be here with you all. And now we need bulletproof neckwear and helmets. It's shameful in this country. The Holy Spirit will give strength to God's people. The left are truly the people. Go away. Make this thing go away. Go away. Okay. Truly vile people. We need to bring back the institutions and institutionalize. Yes, we need the hospitals again. Never forget 9/11. Yep. I saw a post with a reference to an internal email at BATF. The email referenced the bolt action Mauser 3006, 1 spent cartridge in the breech, 3 unspent cartridges in the top loading box magazine. The rifle was wrapped in a towel. Oh my God. And brass had similar. This is Ken. I think Ken's right about everything he said. Christopher Slater, what's the significance of leaving the firearm behind? Just like Michael Corleone, you leave the gun, drop the gun, go. Good morning, freedom fighters. If you've committed a crime, you don't want to be apprehended with anything linked to the crime. Scooter, you're right. Holy cow. Oh, thanks, Amy. Beautiful Porcelli's Day. Thank you very much. Lots to do, and there's lots to think about today. Barbara, thank you so much. Jason, thank you. Thank everybody who are in the chat box with us today. Whew. Tough day. Thank you for being here with me to help me get through it. Ashlyn, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you either. Whistle Pig is where Mike Ferguson is. He's there for another hour. He'll be there till 1 o'clock. He'll be checking in with Jamie Allman on Common Sense Radio 3 Martini Lunch. That's coming up next. And in closing, I'll just say that, Charlie Kirk was a hero. He was a uniter, not a divider. He was not divisive. He was not hateful. They're not allowed to do this anymore, by the way. They're not allowed to say he was controversial. Because you're a conservative doesn't mean you're controversial. It's the left who are controversial. Say that about them before you say it about us. Okay? This happened after I left yesterday. This happened, I think, after Jamie left yesterday for the day. So I'll be interested to see what Jamie Ullman has to say about this. He'll probably keep me in my car for another 20 minutes so I can hear the end of the segment. He always does that to me. Thank you all, really, for being here, for being with me. Thanks for the kind words. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You are a hero, my brother. News is next, and any update on this suspect, Patsy, who knows? But it's next. Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or